What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for October 20th, 2025. 4.3.2 is now live, and it comes with quite a few updates. The new event is also live, and I don't know if I'm feeling it, and my boy Wicklow is gone. For now, all that and more in today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, so stop by and say hi if you haven't yet. I always enjoy seeing you guys over there. We have a lot to get through, but before we do, let me share with you today's sponsor. Thank you to Boot.dev for sponsoring today's video. They are back for all you armchair developers in the comments. You yourself can become a backend web developer using Boot.dev's innovative and really smart lessons towards your goals. You will learn backend web development from start to finish with Python and Go programming languages, but what makes these lessons so different and honestly cool is that they use modern game design to create a self-paced but captivating RPG game that will teach you how to code. The newest feature they recently launched is called the Training Grounds. It's a place where you can grind infinite challenges to give you as much practice as you need before you forge ahead in your coursework. You can even give it prompts to work on certain weaknesses that you might want to improve on. Learning to code is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is the real deal, guys. It will take time, around 12 months. It goes properly in depth on both theory and practice. Now, here's the really cool part. All of Boot.dev's content is free to read and watch in guest mode. The paid membership unlocks the interactive features like hands-on coding, AI assistance, progress tracking, and the game mechanics. And with that, Boot.dev never wants their students to feel like they aren't getting their value. So they offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy, as well as a free demo of every course and its interactive features. So head over to Boot.dev and use my code SaltEMike to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. Once again, that's code SaltEMike for 25% off your first payment at Boot.dev. All right, and with all those bills paid, we have a lot to cover, so let's jump into the patch notes. All right, and starting out on Monday in classic CIG form, and feel free to destroy me in the comments if I'm wrong here, but they said they added cards to get us into the science wing faster, but I couldn't find anything anywhere. There's supposed to be some placeholder card spawned here, but someone grabbed it, I guess, and I think they're supposed to get you to the snake fight faster. So yeah, more on that in a little bit. But in better news, the door resetting seems to be working properly now, which is great for this potentially going live that week. People are going to farm this thing a lot. They also buffed the Stinger's flight characteristics a bit to make it a little better in terms of tuning and speed, but you aren't going to be punching down with this ship only up apparently, and even then probably not that well still for the moment. And yeah, you're absolutely going to want to upgrade your guns as well. Tuesday, 4.3.2 open PTU. On that day, we didn't have anything added to the notes, just bug fixes. So the first one being your Mandy resetting properly, and it does seem to be working even better than Monday. On top of this, the cards that were supposed to be spawning Monday are now being found for sure. I'm only finding them in Site B near the worm, really, so far. One that was away from it. Let me know if you guys have found them in the engineering wing or the research wing. I think that's really important to know. Similar to that, Site B was not spawning any weapons in their racks or loot containers, so at all. And I found the LMG again, which is great, and it might be a useful weapon in the fight, as well as containers with the armor at the location as well. Unfortunately, and this actually does play a pretty big role into live, the code to get into the location to create recombinants didn't work for me. I sent the bug in, but I don't think it made it in time. Oh, and this one snuck in there. They're starting to build out the Lorville weapon shop, but it's still very much work in progress, so I'm not sure how much of this will be on live by the time it gets there, and I didn't go to Lorville when it did go live. So clearly, there are still some issues, but boom. It's just go time on Wednesday, I guess. Like, they put out the message of the day and said they're warming up 4.3.2 live for a release. Now, it didn't happen on Wednesday. it happened on Thursday. And unlike warming up a car would do, this didn't exactly release smoothly at all. I was in a 9,000 person queue, which eventually I just had to leave because I couldn't wait anymore. And later when I got in, I was kind of brutally hit with pending moves when trying to manage my home's locations inventory. But this was more of a release of a new update kind of experience, and it eventually got better. In terms of features, I, for one, love the simplicity of the notes here. They shared the things that they've been talking about for the last week or so, the Mandy fight, which has a 5-minute timer or so, and my org and I were able to farm it quite easily. Bring the Parallax rifle, that's a good one. You'll thank me. Salvage, which absolutely nobody is happy with right now, but I think it will make sense when the crafting system finally comes in. Those updates are, yeah, they don't feel right for the current game, but I think they feel right for the direction they're going. Wicklow contract updates, which, yeah, let's just hold off on that one. And then, of course, all of the ship additions we spoke about last week, the weapon additions and improvements to existing ones, all that stuff. But the highlight has to be the tractor beam improvements for me, for sure. There is a new cosmetic pack, which will certainly include the weapons and armor on release, because, yeah, they're lying to us there. I just know it, or they're bending the truth. And it's $28. They chose an odd ship this time, the Starlancer, where I think a lot of people are probably melting the Starlancer for a Paladin, excuse me. But yeah, no need to farm armor. Just buy it on the pledge store for a really good price for an actual video game, which is wild. Then Frontier Fighters Finale came with this Thursday patch. And aside from everything we just spoke about in the patch, the main focus really is, and going to be over the next 3 weeks, this timed content, Frontier Fighters Finale. Right now, we're in the first week, and it's pretty simple. I'm just doing 71k missions because they give you 100 points every time, and they're literally easier than the 41k ones because you're only dealing with a missile turret. And honestly, even in a large ship like the Paladin, it's very easy to avoid the missiles by either flying in very quickly or going through the caverns of the mountains, I guess, that are there until you're within about 2,000 meters, and then the thing can't target you anymore. I simply shared with a group as well over and over and over again and did both sides by the time that this came out. Yeah, that's correct. This isn't like the previous events where you can only choose one track for Pyro. You can choose whichever one you want, and you can do both if you wanted. The journal will tell us how things are going, and it's really close. So it's, yeah, I talked about this during my live stream, and I'll probably post that on the TV channel, but it's so close because nobody really cares which side they choose. They just want the rewards. And overall, I don't enjoy this content as much because it's extremely repetitive, and we find out just a tiny bit of information on what's going on with this gang and stuff. And yeah, basically in the datapad, I think what's going on here is the Frontier Fighters are working with the gang that we saw at CitizenCon that are dealing with rare illegal components that they told us. And rewards for this week are just clothing, a press vest for CFP, and whatever this is for headhunters. And the next rewards are even worse in my opinion because they're skins for a ground vehicle. And then we get good skins for the last week for the Arrow, I think. So those aren't so bad, but I have to say the second half of the year feels like things got off the rails a little bit on whatever was planned. It didn't happen because the start of the year, the rewards were really good, and then they started to fall off. Resource Drive was like mega awesome, I think, in terms of rewards, but outside of that, I don't know. I feel like they missed the mark a little bit. A bit thrown together, maybe. What we don't know, unlike the Resource Drive event, is what does the winning faction actually get here? We're not really sure. And I think they're hiding this because, yeah, we chose Hurston for reasons. And also, the impact in Stanton was not very big, and I don't think it will be in Pyro. So let me know what you guys think about that. That's just my opinion. If you're enjoying the event, go ahead and enjoy the event. I don't care. And I just hope to see story drive our engagement a little bit more next year and not necessarily rewards as much. Rewards are great, but I hope the story is so compelling and enjoyable to take part in that it drives the engagement. And then we had Hotfix Central immediately on Thursday, right? And all they did was simply notify us that here's Hotfix Central. We do have some fixes planned that are probably going to come out on Friday. And then on Friday, they released the first hotfix. But this is really funny. First off, there were some issues with mole turrets. I'm kind of over mining until crafting, so I have no idea what's going on with that. And then the funny one was that they have completely disabled Wicklow, essentially, other than the intro mission, because the missions are all wrong for right now. And yeah, in this message, we're not given a timeline for when those missions will be back. That's rough, since the content driving the force behind most of their sandbox content, including the Yormandi, is Wicklow, right? So I guess it's going to force people to focus on the event for right now, which is good, and then hopefully they get it fixed soon. If you're getting 40,000 errors, they know, and they're looking to fix that as well. And yeah, we didn't have any video content, monthly reports, none of that. So let's move into other updates. All right, and of course we start out with the sneak peek, and this is clearly the new Aurora update. I'm so excited. Just kidding. It's the Perseus, right? It's very obviously the Perseus, and it looks much smaller and more segmented than the Polaris, for sure. I actually thought the Polaris and the Perseus were the same size. I thought that they were just like kind of variants of each other. One uses torpedoes, one uses a big gun, but the Perseus is actually like 60 meters smaller than the Polaris. So yeah, it actually makes way more sense that it looks smaller. I do hope it's a fun ship to take out and do some, kill some solo Idrises or Polaris's pilots or something. I'm not going to lie. It's a ship I'm really looking forward to. And then the Paladin and Stinger Q&A. Most of the stuff here was covered at CitizenCon, so I want to just take two things out that you really probably want to know in case you weren't paying attention. Let's start out with the Paladin. How does it match up against the Redeemer? It's really only other competitor. And yeah, they stuck to their guns, pun intended, and that said, the Paladin is less maneuverable and more firepower, while the Redeemer can avoid fire, they say. And I don't see a world where a ship like this is avoiding fire from fighters that are actually the types of ships that are supposed to be killing them. And then the Stinger gets a similar question, and it is so big, and it's supposed to feel that way, apparently. So it's supposed to fight other heavy fighters, maybe, and larger ships. But the tuning makes it so any other heavy fighter is just going to be able to outturn it. So it's weird. I don't understand their choices here just yet, and I think they need a little bit more work or give it a little bit more health. Let me know what you guys think on that. And then dev posts, we're going to call this one simple is better. I'm only including this because it really hammers home the point that I don't think they really get, right? And we have a guy who clearly just wants to kind of like play the game and not be forced to do like jump into stuff necessarily all the time, and have content that is compelling and enjoyable day to day like your typical MMO, right? And then Jared Huckabee comes in and comments on the correct terminology he should have used. It's not an event. It doesn't really matter if it's not an event, right? It's not what the player wants. Of course, they don't need to listen to every person who makes a Reddit post, but this has 1.1k upvotes, and it just tells me they're probably resonating with people, this post is, right? So yeah, I don't really get his comment, and like I feel like we should be saying, oh yeah, I get it. We're working on more kind of mining updates for Nyx or something like that. Like, what are you doing? And then Genesis is the next one. So let's end on a positive here. The Planet Tech from CitizenCon, I think, stole the show and surprised me and a lot of other people. And first off, they're not going to deliver Nyx Rocky Planets until they have that tech online. It would simply be a massive waste of time to do that otherwise. So more on that in just a moment. Whatever we saw is probably going to change quite a bit with Nyx 1, the really cool looking planet, I guess. But I think it's obvious that they're just trying to show what they can do now, not necessarily what they're going to do with that planet. I don't think it's going to change drastically, but yeah. The big one for me then is the last one. And yeah, they're going to change the current ones that we have, like, I don't know, Orison, or, well, maybe not Orison, that's a bad example, Hurston or Microtech, right? And of course, we won't find out the answer of when, but they are going to add the Planet Tech to these. Now, yeah, the reason they don't have a timescale is because they have to replace everything that was ever placed on those planets entirely again. That's a lot of work. So I think we can make a very clear assumption here that until we get instancing, they're not going to do that, because yeah, 120 ASD facilities, there's no point in replacing those, right? That would be a giant waste of time and be annoying. So I think, yeah, I'm here for it. I can't wait till this happens. I think for an industry player and anybody who wants to do that sandboxy type activity, like the player in that Reddit post, this is a kind of a big piece of that puzzle. So I can be pretty patient with this and just wait because, yeah, I think currently the outposts and things like that look very samey. Not so much in Pyro, but in Stanton for sure. And yeah, I think that changing would be pretty cool, right? Having more mountains and cliffs and all the things that they showed us at CitizenCon. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and yeah, comment on anything that we talked about and anything we might have missed. If you are looking for more information on like the Fight for Pyro thing, I do have Mr. Kraken's like one-page thing linked down below for all the how things work and everything. So thank you again for watching. I appreciate it, and we will catch you guys next week.